We expected a good debate because anytime you change rules, you know, it affects members and how we can operate within the legislative process. So the rules ended up being adopted, and everybody was really upbeat, and we've got a good group of legislators to work with. I have a lot of faith and confidence in each one. It was good to get the speaker's vote out of the way so we could get down to business, and then on top of that, the pro tem was elected, and then the clerk. So everything, all of the business was taken care of.
Can you describe just the thinking behind the original proposal to limit debate on the special order calendar?
Yes. Since I've been speaker, we've had 2 sessions that we had a lot of debate. And as speaker, I feel like my job is to make sure that every representative has an opportunity to represent their district and the people of the district. I enjoy a healthy debate on an issue. I'm not much for filibuster. I'll just be honest with you. That is a tool that is used, and I respect that. That's part of the process. But at the end of the day, when you've got a 8-hour day, and then every special order that's brought up is being debated for 2 hours, it takes away from the opportunity for you to be able to debate a piece of legislation. And I have sat in that chair and listened to many of the filibuster statements being made for 2 hours. And I'm thinking to myself, looking at a calendar that has some good pieces of legislation on it that needs to be debated and discussed, I'm thinking, we're wasting some time here that we could be working on legislation. And after all, that's what the people of Alabama send us down here to do. And so because of that, I was trying to find a compromise somewhere in just saving us a little time. And so that was the reason for the rule.
Sir, do you feel like that people are happy with the 1 hour that y'all arrived at, or is that general satisfaction from the body?
Well, I think that, Todd, I think that depends on what party you're in. Okay. I've been in the minority party, and I have used the rules to our benefit many times to try to slow a calendar down or to stop a calendar. I've been clotured before, and I'm not a big fan of cloture because I think what that does, it breaks the process down. Because anytime you take a cloture vote on a piece of legislation, you have actually shut down debate and you have stopped representatives from representing their people. So I'm not a big fan of cloture. I see that it's needed at times, and not to say that it's something that should not be done. But at the end of the day, if we can find ways to get the process moving and to be more effective, then that's what I'm for. And I think at the end of the day, we found a compromise that would be fair. And I think everybody is not going to be 100% happy, but I think overall the majority felt good about what we did.
Switching gears a little bit, besides infrastructure, what other priorities do you have in mind?
Well, as you know, we're working on with the Ethics Commission task force that was put together. This commission, they've been meeting to address some clarification issues in the ethics. I try to stay away from the term ethics reform, because we're not trying to reform the ethics law. We've got a good ethics law and it's working. What we are trying to do, though, is add some common sense things into the law to where it helps the legislators, because we are a part-time legislator. It helps them function and do their jobs at home as well as do their jobs as a legislator. So we're working on things to give clarity to that law. And I would hope that this first session, that transportation would be ticket item number 1. The ethics issue is going to come up, and I'm hoping that we can address some issues with that. Then we've got on top of that corrections. As you know, we're in court now with the corrections issues. The Corrections Department and the Governor's Office is working very hard to fix the problems, take the funding that we appropriated last year in this body for the Corrections Department, which was an increase, and take that funding and move forward. And so that will be an item that we need to pay close attention to see where we are, what the court is saying, how much more, if any, funding is going to be needed in the budget. And so that's going to be a huge issue. Public safety from the standpoint of schools and how do we provide safety for our schools through public safety, that's going to be an issue that we will be addressing in this first session. I think that we'll see a lottery bill. I don't think it's something that, there's not a think to it. The leadership is not promoting a lottery bill, but I think you're going to see a lottery bill come up, and I think you're going to see some interest in both chambers about a lottery. And so because of that, that's going to be something that's going to be discussed. And then education is always, front and center. Pre-K is going to, I think we're going to be in a position where we can continue the growth of the pre-K program around the state, and that's going to be very important to our kids. Pre-K has proven itself. It's provided great numbers for our kids, and it's helping our children move forward with their education. So we're going to continue to fund that.
Could we see anything to tackle the rural hospital closure come to the floor this session?
I think there will be some discussion about that. I think there's going to be some discussion about rural hospitals and how they're existing, the health care plans that we have available, the Medicaid issue. We've got to continue to look at that, because the last thing we want to see is these rural hospitals being closed. I think you're going to see some discussions about the technology that we have and how we can make that available to help us in the rural areas of our state to provide a better medical work for the patients, provide medical care for the patients.
What are you going to do next with, as far as the gas tax bill, as far as laying the groundwork for the session? What happens next, and how much will the Democratic caucus be involved?
Well, they're going to, as Speaker of the House, the Democratic caucus will be involved in the entire process. Nobody will be left out of the process. You have the Democratic caucus, you have the minority caucus. They're members of this chamber, and they represent a district in this state. So they will be up front with all of the information that we have. Right now, the work that's being done is between the pro tem, myself, and the governor, and we're trying to get a product, a bill on paper that we can start working from. And we're not at that point yet, but we're getting close, and at that point we'll be ready to move forward. Now what we're talking about is the need, and we're trying to get a feel from the legislators of what's going on in their districts, what kind of needs are out there for infrastructure to address it, and that's where we're moving forward with. So every legislator, I'll be contacting through our team every single legislator and asking them what's going on in your district. What kind of needs do you have for your infrastructure? And how do you feel about revenues and moving forward?
Senator Marsh said the governor is looking for what he described as a reasonable increase in the gas tax. Do you have a sense from your members yet as to, is there any support among the Republican caucus for any sort of gas tax increase?
Yes, I think the reality, since I brought this issue up, it's been almost 4 years now. It's been an education process. Members are paying attention to it now. During the campaigns, it was an issue that was talked about on the campaign trail, and so this is of no surprise to any of our members in the House. And because of that, members are aware that we are going to have some revenue to put into this plan. There are many things that need to be involved in this plan, such as oversight from the legislative body in the process of putting together the 5-year road plans. Such things as looking at electric vehicles, and are they contributing to the miles they put on our highways? We're looking at the process by which we bid contracts for road projects. The process by which the engineering and all of the administrative things that have to be done to get a project ready to go. All of these things are being talked about. So we're looking at this from the standpoint of a comprehensive, good infrastructure package. We're looking at our port system in Mobile. We're looking at airports across the state. And so we're going to try to cover as many bases as we can because we've waited long enough, that's for sure. And that's been my argument from the very beginning. You know, what revenue streams we have was created and addressed in 1992, and we haven't done anything since from a state perspective. So I think it's time.